Welcome everyone, I'm the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 21. Alright, so this week, Slarna, I don't know how to actually pronounce her name, I'm just going to call her Slarna, came out. She's a Dark Faction buffer, has the ability to do a single target heal that can reduce cooldowns and share some effects that she does with her portal thing. Her Rift thing makes it so she can be untargetable. And immune to AoE effects, which is pretty crazy. She can still be affected by environmental things, such as the fixed damage that lava golems do, and getting hit by the ice shards that are put on, like the terrain effects that can still also affect her. I currently have her at 5 stars. Hibiscus is also 5 stars, as is Randell. I replaced Salika with Slarna, partially because I have yet to actually use Salika, and I also have enough healers to kind of make things work for this box. Most of my opponents generally don't rush to ban healers anymore. They're more focused on trying to deal with the big hitters now, like Enya and so forth. And I think that's pretty much it. Let's talk about our opponent. We're playing on Floating Courtyard again, which is one of my least favorite maps, but my opponent here is at least showing off some stuff we don't see too often. We see Rosalia here, does have Slarna, doesn't have Dragon Slayer, which is always welcomed. Also is playing with Zion. You usually don't see much of Hilda nowadays. We also got Tiana here, and then we of course got Tyrantel over here, and of course Florentia is also one we don't see too often either. The box itself, I think it's 2 tanks, 4 healers. Yeah, 4 healers. And then of course there's all sorts of other outsider healing as well, but 4 healers, 2 tanks. Seems to be mostly focused on like single target, it feels like. There are some AoE, but honestly a lot of these are just pretty heavy hitters on their own that can do big single target hits. And of course we got SPTRS here with attack blessing and all that good stuff that can buff it up even further. So I banned Enya first. So most boxes, of course, I usually ban Dragon Slayer first. The usual, at least the previous matches I had, which unfortunately didn't win, usually it's me banning their Dragon Slayer, they ban my Enya. I then ban, and they pick their Enya, and then I ban their Slarna, and I pick my Slarna. But in this case, it's a little bit different, because I'm not banning that, there's no Dragon Slayer to ban, so I ban Enya. My opponent bans Enya, and they're going to go ahead and grab their own Slarna. So this will be my first match against a Slarna. I go ahead and ban their tanks. And I grab my Slarna. So yeah, I've been first picking her. She doesn't really provide very much buffing potential for the rest of the team, because my only Dark Faction buffers, or my only Dark Faction characters are Randell, Hibiscus, and the Awakened one. But I pretty much just have her because she's kind of interesting to play with, and I'm still kind of learning how to use her. My opponent takes Bright Summoner, this one being Mage class. I go ahead and get rid of Tiana, get rid of Eshian. Tiana can be kind of annoying with her being able to guard for other people. And of course, Eshian can give Act Against and all the sorts of good stuff. I definitely really was kind of concerned about Salika, but honestly, with the way the box set up, I can kind of focus more on just getting rid of all the single target strikers and just limit my opponent's options for things. I grabbed my Bright Summoner. One thing I didn't really know is whether or not Zion was actually a tank or not. I don't think he is. I think he's just a standard melee striker type, but I've never actually fought against a Zion prior to this match, I don't think, so it is something new. Alright, my opponent bans Randell, bans Audon Kelmo, and grabs Zion. So at this point I go ahead and get rid of Salika, get rid of Frozen Seal, and I grab Sovereign the Ice Abyss. My opponent gets rid of SPTRS, gets rid of the Awakened one, and grabs their SPTRS. So at this point I was like, alright, cool, I'll go ahead and get rid of Isolde, get rid of their Sovereign of the Ice Abyss, leaving them with just Rosalia and Florentia. Florentia can do Act Against, but I don't know if she gets it. I don't think there's a faction buffer for her. And for some reason I can't show factions in this, which is a little annoying. So yeah, her ways of getting stratagems back would actually be kind of difficult. Rosalia can actually hit pretty hard, but I don't really have any other options. I'd rather get rid of the other options are far more dangerous. I grab Liana at this point, mainly because I really wanted an Actaganus player too. Also, it would go well with pretty much any of these characters with their high abilities to cover ground. They get rid of my Hibiscus, get rid of Risen Seal. They grab Rosalia, and I'll go ahead and grab Lightbringer for my tank for this. Alright. Alright, so Zion's thing is he can give mercy to things he kills, and that will actually keep that target alive and essentially disable them. And while using the Speed Strikes passive, he can actually get self-reses off of those people he is spared. Also, if he spares a target, if he attacks a target and doesn't successfully kill them with his 3C, he can get an act again off of that. So he can actually use his Mercy ability to essentially get an act again to strike a minor target, give it Mercy, and then immediately rush towards something else. Excuse me. But in any case, Zion here has all of his exclusives. Speed Strike can also allow him to move again, act again. Everything else is pretty standard. A lot of things that can dispel buffs and things like that. Zion, Cavalry class with SP Dragon Troopers. We got Rosalia here with Star Prismas, has 3C Sword Throw and Chivalry. Tiaras here has is SP type with Holy Knights. I don't know. It doesn't look like these are these are not the SP Holy Knights. Has 3C, her SP passive, and SP heal. I really need to actually start considering taking the SP passive, because that extra range is really good. And then Bright Summoner here is Mage class. Don't know if she has the... she doesn't have boots. I don't know if she has the range staff or not. Has Fairy Spirit Prophets, both summons, and did take her... single target unique holy attack. Their Slarna has, out of curiosity, is 5 stars. Slarna has her 3C Dream Aegis, which is her heal and reduce cooldown and share some of her Rift of benefits, and then Brand of Retribution is her crazy paragraph long passive that lets her revive phantoms of slain units if she kills the person that does it. I think the way this works is Slarna has to be the one that gets the kill. I think that's how it's supposed to work. I'm not sure, because I've only had one situation where I had the buff had the passive on something, and it had pretty much all the possible things that can be exceptions to the rules. Let's put it that way. I had it on a mirrored version of a unit, so it wasn't even on a normal version of a unit. The kill was on the Awakened one, which of course it has her own unique things about how she respawns. And I got the kill. I did the kill with not Slarna, and I ended up not getting it. I'm pretty sure it's because it was not Slarna that got the kill. That is the reason. The way it's worded is kind of weird. But yeah, I think you're supposed to get kill with Slarna in order to actually get the trigger effect. Of course, the way to never have to worry about it is just don't die. In any case, my opponent is using SP Spider Demon Elves, which honestly I think I should consider taking those. In any case, on my side we got Sovereign Ice Abyss, all of her exclusive with Fairy Spirit Prophets. Liana with Heal, Act Again, and 3C with Windbloom Chanters. We got Bright Summoner here with both Summons and Holy Dragon Breath. I also took Unicorns. This was mostly in reaction to other maps, so honestly I should have picked something else. Lightbringer here, I went Phalanxes, 3C, Light Flow, and Discipline. And then Slarna here, I went with Sorceresses. They technically do the most damage out of all of our troops, but of course that's only if they're at 100% life. I have the exact same skills as my opponents, and I am 5 stars. Alright, so with all that said and done, let's go ahead and dive right in. So I did start out a bit further back, because if you start aggressively with Bright Summoner, you could start here, go with boots you can get to here, you can summon to here, and then get all the way to here. and potentially hit all the way up to here with staves. So this here is actually the safe spot for the most part. Of course, I put mine in that spot because I could aggressively attack from there. So opens with this, which does give additional mobility as well as gives extra HP bubbles and all that good stuff. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and push with my tank and just see what my opponent does. My biggest concern is their Slarna, because their Slarna, once they start getting close enough, can start bypassing guard. The 3C can bypass guard as long as the target is within 2 spaces of a rift. So it is a little difficult to do from like an initiating standpoint. I did do it once in one of my battles where I lost, where I teleported Slarna closer and then moved up and then threw my rift out, and that definitely works very, very well. That being said, the rift itself is very fragile. This one has only 9k HP. Mine spawns with like 11k, and even with 11k HP, it died in a single AoE from Sovereign the Ice Abyss. Like a single 3C was enough to kill it. So you definitely need a way to follow up to get Slarna out of there once you actually get the kill, or try to wait and do more of a standard tank push, which is part of the reason why I banned their tanks. That way they couldn't just keep Slarna protected. One thing to note about the rift is as long as Slarna is within 2 tiles of it, it doesn't cost any additional movement to move around. One thing to note also about her, she gets an act again after placing her rift. That act again only uses remaining mobility. It doesn't get refresh or mobility. That being said, even if you have 0 mobility left, the rift will ensure that you can at least move 2 steps within its range. So something to be aware of. Of course, as always, the big thing about the rift is while Slarna is within 2 tiles of it, she can't be targeted, can't be hit with fixed damage, can't be hit with AoEs. Alright. So she falls back, throws out Dream Aegis. So Dream Aegis reduces cooldown by 3, does a standard single target heal, and makes it so he cannot be targeted. Pretty much gets the same untargetable stuff when he's within range of the rift here. So in preparation for that, because it definitely looked like my opponent's going to try to push and stop that, I went ahead and did a regular summon. So this is not a 3C summon. So the neat thing about doing a regular summon is you could still have your Hymn of Light off cooldown, so you could do back-to-back summons a lot faster. If you open with Hymn of Light, essentially both your summons kind of go on cooldown, and you end up not being able to use anything for quite some time. In any case, let's go ahead and dive into this. So, regular summon, I have the range staff. I can actually get in range of the Dream World Rift here and just take it out. And this thing doesn't have a death animation, it just kind of just slides off the board. Oh, one thing you may notice also with Slarna is you're not going to hear any voices from her. There was a message about it. Apparently there was a bug with it, and it's going to be fixed in the next patch or something. In any case, we killed the mirror, which means I don't need to worry about any of that untargetable nonsense, and I used a very disposable summon for that. So my opponent's just going to do Speed Strike to go ahead and go in to kill this thing. So the reason why he did it with he's doing Speed Strike, he could have attacked with just Holy Sword of Light without using his move again, act again, but he wants to actually do the kill with 3C, which will become clear in a second. So yeah, no chance of living this. It's going to be super dead. Yeah. But he's going to spare it using Mercy. And since he did it, he did an attack with this 3C without getting killed, he's going to get a move again, act again. And doing that, he's just going to move up and then do his 2-range attack against my tank. And this is with Attack Blessing. So Attack Blessing pretty much like gives you like an extra like. I could show it real quick. It was the go-to. It was the original go-to for tank busting back in the day. Now it's not used as much, but essentially gives you 30% extra damage, and then it also, when actively attacking, damage taken is halved, and reflected damage is also reduced. So it's just really, really good for just being able to strike something without much consequence. In any case, Zion moved up, did quite a bit of damage. Does not. Oh, that's right. He did a Holy Sword of Light, so it actually didn't Should have dispelled 3 buffs. Oh, that's right. It dispelled... Did it not dispel anything? When entering battle with a melee... Oh, it has to be a melee attack. Okay. Gotcha. So since he did it within from 2 range... okay, so if he does it within 2 range, he just reduces the cooldown. Got it. Also, did he get clock proc? I'm going to see that real quick. I'm just curious. Don't care about the chill. Nope, it just... Did something else give me the passive after taking action? Yeah, the 3C gives the faction buff. Okay, yeah, if you didn't kill anything, it also reduces... So yeah, a combination of the Holy Sword of Light and 3C makes the cooldown for Holy Sword of Light become 0. Okay, so that's why it's still not on cooldown. Okay, so as long as he's within 3 tiles of a Mercied unit, which is my summon right now, he does get a self-res. And the self-res will kill this unit instead of him, and then give him some healing after the fact. So I was completely fine with just wailing on Zion here, because my opponent doesn't really have a way of following up. So as long as I can get some reliable kills here, I'm pretty much good to go. So I need to do what, 28,000? I do 44,000 with a crit. So yeah, get some healing, but I had double tapped him, so he's now stunned. Rosalia's going to run in. Did Chivalry and then ran in with 3C. The 3C debuff, which reduces attack range, got soaked by the butterfly. And then the 3C damage, of course, got a kill off and gave me a self-res and gave me full stack of mirrors. Alright. So all that's really left is their summoner, or their Bright Summoner. So I go ahead and use this opportunity to go ahead and throw out my Aegis. I put it on Bright Summoner because she's within range. Bright Summoner at this point, their Bright Summoner at this point can go to here, summon to here. The summon does fly and can potentially go like all the way up to here, and then try to, if it has the range staff, shoot my Bright Summoner. And since I have unicorns, there's a chance it could actually get kill. So I go ahead and throw the Aegis on. I'm going to put the portal right next to her so she can't be targeted. This will trigger, of course, my faction buff. And then I can move pretty much anywhere within 2 spaces of this thing. And I could go after Zion to finish him off, but he's stunned, and there's not really an easy way for my opponent to actually follow... Well, could potentially follow up with Realm of Repose. But I was more curious to see if I can kill Rosalia and just get rid of her entirely. One thing to note about my Sarna, I do have the range staff. So even with that little bit of a bubble health here, we're going to throw our Dark Hadouken here and take her out. So, okay, so after I attack with my 3C, I can teleport within 2 tiles of my Dreamworld Rift. So that's what's happening right now. So I'm just going to teleport back down to here. One thing to note about... let's see, that's... there it is. So, when actively attacking... Okay, that's just faction buff stuff. Attacks a single enemy, dealing that, and then applies a debuff. Okay, not a big deal. Okay, so yeah, so it's essentially just a 1 point... without any portal near the target, it's just 1.7 times damage. If my target had survived, I could have applied a debuff that essentially makes it so they can't really be healed or anything, or guarded. But didn't matter because I one-shotted it. So, killed. And then my opponent's going to do 3C here. Now, I think the idea here was my opponent was either going to try to snipe my Bright Summoner or try to throw out an AoE. Neither will work because the only target for the AoE would be Bright Summoner, and she's untargetable right now. So it kind of just moves up there, and that's kind of it. So at this point, I could easily just move up with Liana with her Inscription. I can act again at 3 range, put it on Sovereign Ice Abyss, and then use her to run up, kill the summon, and then move back. And then that would be pretty safe at that point. But my opponent's just going to give up at this point, which is pretty understandable. It was pretty one-sided. They definitely wailed on my tank pretty bad. I took a lot of damage on my tank. Me aggressively taking out the summon would kind of put my tank in danger because it still was only at like 50% life. But I was winning the kill race at that point, so it didn't really matter that much. So yeah, as I mentioned, I did have some matches prior to this, which I lost both of them. But I did use tickets to make sure I didn't lose any points. So this one match I did, I think I was like 19 points away from advancing, so I'm now gold 3. So I've gotten all the season rewards at this point. I got the Lance skin, and then of course the Apex Sailors here, and of course I'm not going to get the Langrisser stuff. It's probably going to be kind of annoying now, because gold 3 of course has all the much more annoying boxes. But the rewards for being at gold 3 are just a lot better than being silver 1, unfortunately. The big difference here is these arena mastery stones. Getting 5 epic gifts over the 8 rare gifts is actually kind of a big difference, because it's actually kind of hard to get the SSR ranking stones that you need to actually keep up with everything. In any case, real quick, to show off some data. So, as mentioned, I don't use Salika. I've used her 0 times. She's banned. I've had 10 matches. She's been banned 6 times, and even then, I never pick her. So I was completely fine with dropping her and taking Slarna. That being said, at this point, I think Autumn Kelmo's kind of done her thing at this point. The purpose of Autumn Kelmo was just for her portals, but not for the navigation part. It was more for the fact that her portals reduce mobility around anyone trying to pass through. But that's becoming less and less of a problem now, especially with Slarna, because Slarna is kind of a way to counteract some very nasty rush combos where someone just runs up and kills a bunch of people. Slarna can counteract that with her passive and just killing the target and then reviving everything, or getting phantoms of everything. So I'm actually going to be dropping Autumn Kelmo as well. But a few other things to note: all 10 of my matches, all of them, Enya has been banned. Not all of them were first bans, but majority of them were. I usually don't first pick Enya, even if I have the opportunity to, because I don't trust myself, and I tend to not do very well with her. That being said, in all but one of my battles, I've used Bright Summoner, and then everyone else is kind of just a variety. Varelia tends to get banned pretty often, and I usually don't first pick her for obvious reasons. And then Rosenseal tends to get banned for obvious reasons. Anyone that wants to negate my healers will usually pick them. So, good stuff there. Obviously, my tanks tend to be not often picked. Usually I only pick them if I do intend on tank pushing, which I tend to do a little bit more now that I have Slarna. But we'll see how it goes. In any case, I am dropping Autumn Kelmo. For now, I'm going to be bringing back Eshian for just that extra little bit of utility. I think that'll be far more useful. Because then that can give me opportunities to... if I do some crazy rush-in with Slarna type strat, I could try to use Eshian to try to get her out of there, which would be pretty helpful. And Eshian, of course, has a self-res, which also is kind of useful. Some other I was very, very tempted to try to bring back Silvaria and see if I could do some sniping with her, but I think I'm going to wait on that for now. We'll see how, like I said, I'll see how things go. Gold 3 is obviously going to be its own beast now, because all the tryhard boxes are going to be there for now as people are trying to get to Langrisser. In any case, other things on the data, just to show off, despite me hating it so much, Floating Courtyard is still at 100% ruin rate, and then pretty much, if it's Gemini Bridge, the Gorge, the Cliffs, or the Circle Hill, I'm currently 0 and 1 at this point as far as losses are concerned. So we'll see how it goes. Overall, though, I'm actually having I'm having a better time than I expected as far as the PvP is concerned. I was very concerned, obviously, because there's just a lot of big hitters that are requiring bans at this point. Of course, we have Dragon Slayer, we have Enya. Slarna is kind of pretty dangerous at this point. In a few months, we'll have LLR Feroqua, which will definitely be interesting. But I've actually been kind of more comfortable dealing with some of these opponents now. I'm still not going to ever not ban Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer, I fight Dragon Slayer in World Arena, and it's just, he's essentially a raid boss. Like, that's how ridiculous he is. Like, I could have everything else killed, and then it's just a hellacious battle of just trying to finish him off, because he's just that strong. The biggest thing, the biggest thing that makes him really annoying is the fact he can get a guard range of 3, which is more than even standard guards, standard tanks. And that tends to be something that throws me off pretty often, is I forget that he can get his guard range up to 3, and then I'm essentially just stuck, unable to actually kill anything because he's tanking everything. But yeah, I'd rather fight Enya. Enya is super annoying too. Obviously, her being able to spawn a mirror version of a existing unit with all of its current states and cooldowns it's essentially it's really dangerous for a lot of the units that have a lot of high mobility and act again, move again, because then they just essentially start fresh at a closer range, and there's just not much you can do about it. The only thing you can really do is either you have to kill all the important units before she can do the summon, kill her if you can somehow target her, or you kill the summons as they come and endure it and just hope that you get the opportunity to finish her off before she makes more copies of something. But yeah, so far though, I've been having fun with Slarna. The 2 matches that I did lose, I did play with her. It was a lot of fun. I did try the guard bypass thing. It was really fun. Haven't really had an opportunity to actually get any spawned phantoms yet. Like I think I mentioned that earlier. But yeah, she's really interesting. Unfortunately, the second match I had, I kind of didn't even get an opportunity to use her because I was dumb, and I was using Auden Kelma's portals poorly, let's just put it that way. So that's part of the reason why I'm going to go ahead and drop Auden Kelma. I don't really need her, and she's kind of more of a liability for me at this point. Because I accidentally, as a tank, ended my turn on top of a portal, and it yanked me away from all my units. Needless to say, I gave up after that. Anyway, enough rambling. There's been a lot of nice quality of life changes also with this update. Everything's just a lot easier to keep up with. And yeah, just been good times all around. So I am the Depressed Eeyore. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 21. I'll see you guys later.